Hi, I'm Caroline Weilert, Vice President of Marketing for ValleyCrest Landscape Companies. I'm at the ULI Fall Meeting in Los Angeles, and I'm here today with Bill Shopoff, the President and CEO of the Shopoff Group. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for having me here.
Great. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of planned communities.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The first one is a bit of a mouthful, but it is, if you agree that the issue is what we build versus where we build, how can we shift future developments into more cohesively designed communities and neighborhoods?
Well, I think it all begins really at the planning process. I think that you have to intelligently think out and into the future of trying to design lives and design space and design community. And I think that comes from not only the physical space of the 4 corners of what people's residences and workplaces and shopping are going to look like, but also how they're going to recreate, how they're going to interact with one another. And I think that all starts really at square one of the design process. And I think it's the architecture, it's the aesthetic, it's the landscape, it's all of those things. And I think furthermore now it's gotten much more into not just planning spaces, but also planning programming and how those spaces are going to be utilized. And really trying to design out into the future, not just years out when you're going to sell the project, but really decades out into the future of how we're going to live our lives in society and interact with one another.
Great. All right, we're going to talk about the entitlement process.
Not great.
Not great, right? Pretty challenging. What do you think we need to do to make it better?
I think that, yesterday's event, they were talking about the new rules under CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act in California, to somewhat streamline that on more critical projects in California. I think the challenge is, look, we all want to do the right thing for the environment. At least certainly our firm does, and I think most of the people in this industry do. But I think the problem is now that we're fighting people who want to fight you just to fight you, rather than to fight you to create better projects. And I think that the regulations need to be streamlined. They need to be focused on deriving a better product and protecting the environment, not just delaying, because the delays do nothing but drive up cost. They drive up our risk, which means that we want to make a higher yield, which ultimately is paid for by the consumer. So I think the spirit of it was good to begin with, but it's lost focus and it's been abused over the past couple of decades, I would say.
Yeah, so we've got some work to do.
We definitely got some work to do. I mean, I tell people, I said, look, it's a problem. It's also, in our case, maybe it's the blessing. It keeps other people out of our industry because maybe they're more sensible and they go do something that's easier. And we've learned the process enough, and so we manage it. But we'd prefer to not manage it. It's very expensive in terms of capital allocation, and I don't think it necessarily has yielded better projects for us.
Great. Okay, and then quickly here, do you believe it's possible to plan community?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what you have to do. I don't think it's about planning, as I said earlier, it's not about planning just physical space. It's about planning how people are going to live together, creating that environment, and I think it's our responsibility as master planners, as creators of these projects, to do that, is how that place is going to live together and how it's going to interact, not just the physical space, but how are people going to interact with one another, and it's getting them to interact. I mean, I think that's what makes our community already such a vibrant place, and how do we take that and transfer it into a new development project, bring that not only to make that work within its own environment, but also to interact with the external communities.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate your time. Enjoy the conference.
Great. Take care.